Hi, I'm Lyndsey Parker for LPTV. I'm here at Licorice Pizza with Matthew and Issy Cartledge from the Molotovs, who are exploding everywhere. You're huge in the UK. The British invasion is happening here. This is your first time in Los Angeles. You're here to celebrate the recent release of Wasted on Youth. You are a model of youth to us. We're all so happy that you're here. First of all, thank you for coming to Licorice Pizza.
Thanks for having us.
I saw actually in your press release when you were talking about coming to LA, I'm reading the quote. You said that you were excited because this is your first time in LA, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That you were excited to visit the home of everyone from the Birds to the Go-Go's. I was happy you mentioned the Go-Go's because they're friends of the store. So you spent a few days in LA. Has it lived up to your kind of mythical expectations? I know you've been to the Chateau Marmont and the Rainbow and I don't know what else.
Yeah, it's been good.
It's definitely put a hole in your wallet.
Yeah, it has,
LA.
definitely. Yeah.
We went on the first night, went over to the Viper Room to see Ryan Roxy's supergroup band, the Starfuckers, with Slim Jim Phantom,
Yay.
another one from Guns N' Roses, someone else from somewhere else. But yeah, that was a great night to be part of and to be there and be invited.
Very cool. Slim Jim Phantom is a friend of the store as well.
Oh, is he?
It's
Yeah,
all
he's a great guy. Really nice.
So has LA mythology, I mean, obviously you're influenced by so many different artists, American and British, is the whole Hollywood, LA rock thing, a thing that you have been inspired by?
Well, as we said, I guess the Birds, definitely. And hearing stories of the Whiskey Go-Go, Viper Room, the Rainbow Bar we went last night. All those sort of places, I mean, it's kind of, I guess Jaws parallel was kind of Soho in the 70s and the kind of zeitgeist that was going on there. So it's nice to have the American counterpart and experience it.
Awesome. So one thing I like about your success story so far, the success is you know, like I said, you're blowing up here, is you kind of did this the old-fashioned way. A lot of people think that young bands, I mean, how old are you guys again? 17 and 18? 17 and 19?
18 and 20 now.
And you've been doing this already for 6+ years. And a lot of the younger artists, you know, they just blow up on TikTok, or you think that's how it's perceived, that they came out of nowhere as like an internet phenomenon and that they didn't pay their dues. But you guys, I mean, I was looking at this math. Is it true that you've played 600 shows in 5 years?
Yeah, 6 years, yeah. Yeah, 'cause we started in 2020, summer 2020, so it'll be coming up to 6 years, I think, in July or something like that. Yeah.
We haven't counted up the numbers recently. That's the number that we've had for maybe a year or so, so it's probably
it's there
a lot
or
more.
thereabouts, really.
Just over,
yeah.
So how young were you guys when, that's 5-6 years ago, so you were what we
12.
in America call middle school age.
Yeah, I was in middle school, man.
I don't know what they call it in England, if they call it middle school, but yeah, you were tweens.
Early secondary school.
So let's go back to the beginning, because like I said, I think it's important for people to realize that in an age where the idea of bands touring and gigging and building up a fan base organically is kind of a dying thing, that is what you guys did. And it all kind of started during the pandemic. And my understanding is because regular venues were shut down, you started busking. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's right. So Matt and I, we started 6 years ago, and out of necessity, you know, we were in bands before, but those obviously broke up as soon as lockdown ensued. So we joined forces and we went out playing the covers of the bands that we loved at the time and still do, like Libertines, The Cure.
I'm wearing a Libertine shirt. It's not a coincidence. I wore this for you.
Good raiment. We're doing, what else did we play? We played the Beatles, the Kinks, the Jam, Sex Pistols, all this sort of stuff. And we'd go out to Brixton, Soho, around Oxford Street. And even there was a load of protests at the time, either anti-lockdown ones or anti-ID. These kind of things ensued. And so we'd go out on the street and we'd play music to all the ralliers, like I Predict a Riot by the Kaiser Chiefs or Anarchy in the UK, things that were fitting. And then as soon as everything opened up again, we just said yes to every opportunity, and everything led to something else. And that's just how we formed as a band, was just playing live, and it's still what we, I guess, thrive at, if thrive's the right word.
Yeah, we still do it.
What Libertine, obviously you still do it. You just do it in big venues now, and we'll get to that. But what Libertines covers did you do?
Don't look back into the sun, can't stand me now. The big ones, really.
What, Waster?
We didn't do anything.
No deep cuts.
Yeah, no deep cuts, really. We did Delaney or anything like that.
Well, unfortunately, in America, they're kind of all deep cuts because they never really got big here.
Nah, well,
they weren't probably allowed over here.
They only came out here once with Pete.
Yeah.
And that was Coachella. And then they toured one other time without him for the reasons you might expect that he couldn't come out here. But they never really had a chance to break out here. They were more known for him dating Kate Moss than anything else. But I always love them. And I love the influences that you have because obviously I hear jam and I hear 70s punk and I hear 80s new wave and I hear 90s Britpop and stuff. But a lot of the stuff I hear from you is reminds me of that era, not just the Libertines, but like the Kooks, the View, the Maccabees. I mean, actually, I hear a lot of the Future Heads in the way you sing. I don't know if that's a band you know.
I've never really listened to them now.
Just vocally.
Heard
Great cover of Hounds of Love by Kate Bush.
I've seen their stickers everywhere. That's about it, just in like venue toilets and things like that.
That won't be... Okay.
It was an era that the enemy kind of disparagingly called landfill indie, which I hate that term because obviously it sounds derogatory. But the reason that it was called that was it was this idea that there were just so many indie bands at the time putting out physical CDs that like eventually it was enough. It was too much. It was enough to fill a landfill.
Maybe Petri Dish indie would be a better term for it.
But it was, that really the aughts or
laundry basket indie. Something like that.
There you go. I prefer that. But that era of all the bands I mentioned and like I don't know, did I say the Maccabees, Fratellis, like all of that stuff. It's kind of the last time that stuff seemed to be really in vogue. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, totally.
So am I right in saying that you kind of pull from that as well?
Yeah, the Fratellis were sort of the band of that era. That was it for me. I mean, I got really into them for like quite a while. And not saying I don't like them anymore. It's just that my focus like drifted elsewhere. Probably times before that. I guess I started with Green Day when I first picked up the guitar, and that which I think 90% of kids who pick up guitar do. And then it was like the Arctic Monkeys, and then it was the Libertines, and then it was like Fratellis and all that sort of thing. And yeah,
have I read correctly that Billy Joe Armstrong, and it's great. Obviously, he likes you guys. He's shouted out you guys. He has this thing of bringing a kid on stage to play guitar on a song. Have I read? Is the urban legend true that he did that with you once?
I didn't get on stage, but he told me to come up, and then the security picked some other kid. I'm sort of it's all right. I mean, I was gutted at the time. So yeah, I mean,
still gutted.
I went home.
Cries
and I was like pretending. Well, it was hard to enjoy the rest of the gig. I'll be honest, but I've gotten over that now, and I'm sort of glad, if anything, because didn't really want to be known as the kid who just got picked by Billy Joe to come on stage and play one cover song. You know what I mean?
I mean, it would be a clip that would be resurfacing now. Like, watch,
I know you would never get fucking away from it. Yeah.
Why did they pick the other kid?
I don't know. I mean,
was he good?
Better
haircut. Yeah.
I find that hard to believe. I mean, maybe you didn't have this haircut then.
No, it's better now. Yeah.
Have you had a chance to meet? Have you had a chance
Which
to
camera
meet?
is on?
They're all on.
Oh, they're all on.
So you can post for all three.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to? I assume you've crossed paths. I assume you've crossed paths with Billy Joe. Now he's sung your praises, like I said. Have you ever told him? Like
never actually spoke to him or met him. Just it's sort of been this online flirt, really.
The closest we got is he played a pub in Covent Garden called the Marquis, which we're at all the time. It's like they do only vinyl. It's tiny. It's apparently where Dickens drank, but Dickens drank everywhere in Covent Garden. So the legend goes. But we're always there. We love it. It's like a proper, they call it the Freakish Mod Pub. And just Green Day did a gig there, like 60 capacity. I mean, there was condensation over every surface there. It was absolutely rammed. And you can see in all the videos, Matt's bleached blonde head just outside the window, bobbing up and down, just wishing to get in, but pressed right up against the glass. And while they were coming in, he gave like a little nod of acknowledgement. Like he definitely saw.
That was about it. He sort of pointed like he knew who we were. But yeah, that was about it. I mean, the pub is probably not as big as the studio.
Yeah, it's
probably just a tiny bit smaller. But
I feel like it's inevitable that you'll end up doing something, touring together or collabing, or I don't know. It feels like with all the other ways your career and all the other great people you've played with or met or toured with or opened for, that I feel it's inevitable that that's going to happen.
We need a petition.
I don't know, mate. If he sees this, I mean, he can make it happen. But really, I don't know.
We have some ties to the Green Day world. I'll put in a word, although I don't think you need my help.
No. please do. Thanks a lot.
So you developed a reputation for being a great live band, like I said, the old-fashioned way, and you started, like I said, busking. How was that a good test for, or a good way to hone your live chops? Because I imagine it's hard enough if you're an opening band or you're playing a club or a pub to get people's attention. But when you're trying to get people's attention, people are just like walking by on the way to the tube stop or to work or whatever, like that's a really difficult audience.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people don't really mind it because it's like London. They'll assume there's going to be busking and things like that. It's part of the culture, really, and why London's such a great and vibrant city. Not that it's the only city that's got that in the UK. I mean, like, Liverpool and Manchester and all the rest of it got that as well. But I think it was a really good test that you got to grab people's attention like really quickly, because you got maybe about 5 seconds when they're walking past to get them to either stop and watch, or at least like follow you online, and then after that buy a ticket. But people might just they like the idea that kids are getting out there and doing it, and we were kids at the time, so. Yeah, that was great.
We got rid of a lot of fear as well, to go out onto the street, and you're not on a stage, you're not on a pedestal, you're at the same like physical level as people.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it for ages.
And to make it like make kind of fools of yourself out on the street. I mean, you had to be completely delusional and so into it at the time. And so I think that's kind of translated to how we perform now. There really is no like inhibitions when we play. It just is just pure.
Yeah, we're not delusional anymore. We
we know we're shit.
Yeah, I was about to say that, you cunt. Yes, I'm shooting off. All right.
It's all good. Also, believe it or not, this is not the first time I've discussed the C word during the interview here, because it was with somebody who's Australian. Because in Australia and England, that word is different than it is here.
How so?
It's more here. It's actually like consider a pretty bad swear word, but like here it's no.
It's fitting then, yeah.
And my understanding is that in the UK and Australia, it could be used as a almost like a term of endearment, or it's definitely like got a softer landing, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
So anyone who was watching is going, "How dare you call your sister that?" Like, it's cool.
It's alright. She calls me worse.
So eventually, lockdown started to ease up, and
worse as well.
I mean, feel free to say whatever you want. It's a safe space here, but I mean, no one's going to get offended.
No.
But so lockdown started to ease up, and but some venues during that time were struggling and are still struggling. And I know that's a big cause for you. You've done you have this thing called the Youth Explosion shows you do, and it's to like support small venues in the UK. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so we started them, about 2022, 2023?
23, we started the Youth Explosion gigs, yeah.
And so what those were is, because we were obviously a lot younger then, we were under 18, but we managed to kind of wheedle our way into venues and make it work, even though we weren't supposed to not even be there, but then play there. But a lot of our peers didn't have the same, we were dressing up and able to kind of act a little bit older, and the rest of them couldn't really do that. So we wanted to set up these all ages gigs, really accessible at £3 tickets, just to get a kind of new generation into rock music, because they weren't exposed to it, like they'd never been to a gig before. So our shows, where we'd curate the lineup with other bands on the scene, which there were a lot of, still are. There's some great guitar bands in London at the moment. But yeah, we put on these shows, and people aped it. They started wearing the sort of things we were wearing, listening to the influences that we were inspired by. And we went on and did ones at Bush Hall, which Paul Cook from the Sex Pistols ended up on stage with us as well, playing God Save the Queen. And that was with all proceeds going back to the venue because it was going to shut down. But we've done a load for Music Venue Trust as well, supporting their £1 ticket levy that Coldplay did, for example. And who else did it? Loads of people at Wembley. They've started doing this kind of campaign with £1 for each ticket goes back into independent venues. So, yeah,
wouldn't give away £2 though.
No.
I mean, that's taking a piss. How are they going to make any money?
I mean, yeah, it's hard. I mean, I was saying how a lot of bands don't come up the way you came up, but it's hard.
A lot of them do, though. To be fair,
okay.
In history, and that's how.
In history, yeah,
but not now.
98% of the bands come up.
Right,
now,
it's less common now, or it seems less common now.
Yeah, so it is. You're completely right. I don't know what he's on about, but yeah, now
it's just because we don't have things like the NME anymore. That
Didn't the NME come back?
Yeah, but it's only online now. It's not a press thing because there's no money in magazines really.
Media is far rarer now, but because everything's like digital sphere now, there's even more reason to go out and buy physical media, buy vinyl, buy magazines. It's kind of all that's, well, obviously we're in a record shop.
We love to hear it. We love to champion physical media here.
Independent.
Keep going.
This is what cultivates a scene. This is what brings people together. You're never gonna, that can't die. Those sort of third spaces. So, but that's like, people rising on social media. That's kind of the way people are doing it now. And I think part of our success has been because people have really taken to us as individuals and through the gigs and feeling a kind of loyalty. And from the people that they meet in those rooms, you can't get that kind of sense of community through online and social media.
Yeah, they like the way they've gone about it, yeah.
And being the age that you are and that a lot of your peers and fans are, I mean, you guys got robbed of a lot of that because during your teen years, your developmental years, when you should have been out discovering the scene, you were in lockdown or busking. So I feel it's even more important now. Kids have to catch up with what they missed out on.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and that's why we got a load of younger fans in that, because they were at the right age where lockdown was, where they weren't doing much anyway. They didn't go out and they weren't of pub going age or even gig going age, really. So now that they're out of it and they've seen us coming up through and out of lockdown, they're now of that age where they can go and see gigs, and that's where, we have got a lot of younger fans, and I'm really, really proud of that. It's because I've been where they was, like in their shoes at that age, going out and seeing gigs and going to pubs and things like that. And it's a nice feeling because I've always been like the baby of all the bands that I've gone and seen and, been around and been on the bill with. I've always been the youngest one. And for the first time in history, it's like I'm not the youngest one anymore. And I feel like such a, I don't know, nonce even being around him.
I wouldn't worry about that.
No.
I would not.
I'm not, by the way, but yeah. I feel a bit weird having to clear that up, but
no, I know it. But yeah, I mean, obviously you're still quite young. All good. You talked about physical media, and when you guys first started, like your first single in the UK, wasn't it like kind of special because it was very physical media driven?
It was number one in the physical charts, which just shows that there's still a.
And it was what, a vinyl single or?
Well, it was yeah, so it was the 7-inch singles charts, and it was the overall vinyl chart, so albums and singles.
Very cool. I'm sorry, what were you about to say about that achievement?
Yeah, well, it just shows that there's still the consumer base there for this sort of stuff, and still people are very much interested in vinyl. It's not dead yet, and we should acknowledge that. And we always, even with the new album, we got to number 3 in the whole charts in the UK, and a lot of that was to do with our vinyl sales as well, and people really buying into that. It's not just the music, it's the artwork, it's the lyric sheet, it's those tiny decisions that go into a larger product.
Yeah, you won't believe it. We had so many discussions about whether to keep the plug socket in on the album sleeve, and I was pro pocket sleeve plug socket on the sleeve, and she was anti, but we agreed in the end.
How did you, as brother and sister, it seems like you get along, but brothers and sisters can fight, and now you're also in a band, so you're sort of business partners as well. How do you navigate those kind of business decisions, creative decisions?
Physical fighting.
All right. No, physical media and physical fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. You mentioned the Bush Hall.
Structured debate.
Okay. I feel like we're having some kind of debate, the way it's set up, like a PBS.
Or an intervention. This is more
something like that. Yeah. Something like that.
So that BuzzFeed thing when they get 20 Trump supporters vs we want to know one Democrat.
You mentioned
they're great.
Huh?
Casinos, they're great, and they all have to run to the chair. It's like political musical chairs.
Okay. Well, actually, since we are talking politics, I wanted to talk about some of the messages in your music, because you've talked a lot about, I sort of touched on it about kids going through the pandemic, but Gen Z, it's a tough time, whether you're in England or the UK, it's a tough time to be young right now. A lot of financial struggle. It's hard to get jobs.
Yes.
And I actually even think I'm not from England, I don't live there, so you tell me if I'm wrong, but I almost see some parallels to post-Brexit UK with what was going on during the Sex Pistols era or the Thatcher era in the early 80s. So there are some songs, there are some themes about that on the record. What
definitely. I think there's I think we're definitely in a decline at the moment, but always in history, when there's a decline going on in whatever way that is, I think great art and great music comes out of it. And And yeah, we're in a sort of weird time in the UK at the moment, and I think in the world.
Everything's very polarized,
exactly.
extreme, and with our music and with kind of the messaging in a lot of the songs, we want to just touch on more universal truths and whatever side you're on, you kind of still
just get some
unity.
Unity, because then we can open the conversation, actually get stuff done. And if we're not polarized, I mean, people don't want to talk to each other, and who've got opposing views. But I think that you might hate them for it, but you've got to talk to them. Which is,
everyone wants the same thing, which is stability. Young people want job stability. They want to be financially independent. They want to have friends and a community, identity. And so this is all the sort of stuff that no matter where you are politically, these are the stuff that rings true. And, we want to champion through our songs and through our gigs as well, give people that kind of space and, find something to energize them.
Are there certain songs on the album that address this more, I guess, overtly? I know Newsflash seems to be...
Newsflash, that's a sort of anti-lockdown song. I mean, I don't think we should lock down, but
I think the disproportionate, how disproportionate it was on young people who weren't as affected by COVID, and so they were kind of left out of the conversation, and still now they've been left behind. And
socially as well. I mean, in your formative social years, that's when you learn to actually interact with people. So many people, young people, are starved of that experience and those teachings, and they won't recover from that and ever will, because they're too far gone. And socially inept now.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's an anti-lockdown song, just in what sense? Because, I mean, I think people maybe will look back at that history about some of the measures that were taken in this country as well and go, oh, was that necessary to shut down the schools? I mean, we didn't know at the time what was going on.
When I was writing it, I didn't realise, but it's so scary to realise how compliant people were, and how people they'll go forth with anything that the government says. Yeah.
Was that I mean, obviously you were out busking, and actually it was a really creative time that led to all these cool things for you.
We had trouble with the police, but going out busking. Yeah, loads of them. We have neighbours calling the police of us playing music and things like that. And a lot of
time
we got
asked for
£10,000 fine. We got threatened with a fine by these police officers, and they said we were inciting a social gathering, which is mental. But
even obviously we showed up and played, but we were going to pack up and go, and then we did one last song, and they got really
arsey up.
Yeah, they got arsey because we said to the crowd, this is our police. This is our Met Police. This is what they're focusing on. And then they were like, actually, they did the fucking Columbo, came back, and they were like, oh, we're going to give you.
Yeah, you said that. All right, now you're getting fined.
Did you have to pay it, or did you get out?
Of course we didn't.
No, we just fine. We haven't had anything since.
Did you get a lot of tips when you were buskers?
Yeah, you can take the
£10,000 worth.
50 quid that's in our guitar case. How about that? And
50 quid's all right. It's not 10,000 quid, but it's all right.
Yeah, I could stomach losing that.
How has been the reaction? I feel the reaction to a song like Newsflash now would be different than if you'd put it out in 2020 or 21.
We still sung it back then.
And how did people react?
I know the PA was so shit they couldn't hear the lyrics. But now they can, and they've got a lyric sleeve as well. I think it's actually not a song that really gets talked about a lot on the album, so I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, a lot of people just talk about the singles and Daydreaming and Geraldine, really, because they go, who's Geraldine?
Or who is? No, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's a...
I'd rather talk about Newsflash, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There's another song, I have to look at the title, I'm so sorry. It was called Rhythm of
Yourself.
And I feel, tell me about that one, because it's my understanding that basically, obviously, you're doing something that's kind of, although it evokes the past, it's fresh and different compared to a lot of things going on now. But there were people in the music industry that were like, this ain't going to work, kids. Change your look, change your sound.
Yeah, but the fact that they'd happily tie you off in a contract for 15 years, but they don't like anything about what you do. They just think you're good models for it, which I think is so insulting. And it was that, change your clothes, change your face and hair, change the guitars you play, and what you sound like. And they're trying to get us to get all grungy, getting baggy jeans, and we'll get you a sponsorship with Vans. It's like, I don't want fucking sponsorship with Vans,
Who would you want a sponsorship for?
I don't know. Well, we work with a brand, sort of work with them. I mean, we
Rickenbacker would be good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Vivian Westwood,
yeah.
Adam of London, they're great. We've
got
I wear a lot of their suits and things like that. I know.
But yeah, just to go back to, they just thought this wasn't like, because you signed to an independent label. You're still independent.
Yeah.
But the people, the big wigs, just didn't get it, or
well, wasn't necessarily that it was a medium wig. I think he's not as he talked big. It's one of these lot that talk a big game.
It's one of those sharks that you see a lot in the
But
music industry.
and he presented us with a contract which was so fucking insulting and scary, and it was like, you're mad if you ever thought we'd agree to anything like that. And I found it was a really eye-opening experience, that this is what the music industry can be like when you're so young. I think it must have been like 14, 13 when I wrote that song, and it was like, is that really what you can do to like a pair of kids?
they did it because you were young, probably, and they thought you'd just be like, "Yay, record deal," and wouldn't know any better. Or your parents might not.
Management deal, yeah. But yeah, that's anyway. Cunt's a good word for him. There you go.
In the American sense.
But while it's the song's about a personal experience, or inspired by Matthew's personal experience in the music industry, it's also just a wider claim for people to, march to the beat of their own drum, dance to the rhythm yourself.
It's about individuality more than anything, and not to get swayed by the trends or other people.
Stay true to yourself, authenticity.
Stick with your guns. Yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned the Bush Hall. We've been talking a bit about the Sex Pistols, and you mentioned the Bush Hall show you did where Paul Cook got on stage, which of course you've now played with the Sex Pistols. I'm very sad you're not tour. I found out you're not going to be doing the American shows.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. But tell me about that experience. I'm sure you've talked about it a lot, but my understanding is that, that wasn't planned. He just like jumped on stage, or had you met him before? Did you know him?
Well, he was. I was told he was going to come to that gig.
He's a West London boy, and it's in Shepherd's Bush.
QPR fan, yeah, and he was going to be coming down to show support for the venue and Music Venue Trust and things like that, and basically say, no, it's not shutting down. This is an important place, and it's good that youth music is also still thriving here. And I saw him in the crowd while the support band were playing, and I just said to him, "Oh, all right, Paul, are you getting up for a tune?" And he was like, "No, I'll leave it to you kids." That's what he said. I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right." Everyone's got to be a punter sometime. And anyway, towards the end of the set, it was their side of stage, like edging to get on. And I think it was before the Pistols like did their recent run of gigs like a couple of years ago. Before they, I think they were taking like a extended break. I could just see in him that he missed it, and he missed this feeling of all these young people jumping up and going mad, and I guess just feeling that excitement and unity in the room of youth arrogance, and he just went, yeah, we'll do God Save the Queen. Knew it. So
John at the time
kicked him off.
Kicked off. He jumped straight into the crowd and started moshing.
He got sacked for 3 minutes.
I'm sure he didn't mind. I'm sure he understood.
Yeah.
That's crazy. When I was talking about how there's parallels to some of the things going on with your generation and songs like Newsflash in particular, but just in general, this idea of, Gen Z and dealing with what's going on in a post-Brexit England. Is there stuff about the Sex Pistols and what they were reacting to in their era of, it was all about like no future, everyone was on the dole. Like, is there stuff in their music that resonates with you even now at your age?
I guess so, but I think we've got a bit more hope than that. We think there is a future, and we think that we can attribute to that.
Yeah, there is definitely a pessimism at the moment, and that kind of same nihilism. You see that in voter turnout, especially for young people. But I think there's some great movements at the moment in the UK, and I think music is one of those driving it forward, that is providing hope and going to people that they do have a power, and it's for them to start enacting it and having agency to go and do
but
things.
There is a whole lot of what's the point as well. What's the point in showing up and registering to vote or whatever, and like my best mate doesn't vote. He's just going, oh well, it's all fucked. And I think that's just such a lazy
all the same, yeah.
view they're all the same. Yeah, it's just such a lazy view to have, and it's like, you might not have much faith in the system, but you've got to have fucking some, because otherwise, what else have you got? And what else are you doing to make it better?
Totally. That laziness will be the killer of us all.
Yeah.
What do you think is...
At least believe in bad and worse.
That's a good quote. That's a good... Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's a song lyric right there. Write that down. Write that down. Good. That's a song lyric or an album title. What do you think for your generation in Britain is like the biggest concern or worry or obstacle?
I think just money more than anything,
and isolation as well. I think a lot of people are isolated and feel like hopeless and helpless. it is that no future thing. People, either in the university system at the moment, like the education system,
sold that whole line,
which is what daydreaming is about.
That attending university.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that young people aren't being told the full truth about it, and
which is
overpromise. They're just overpromised.
I mean, it's happening in America too. Like you get an education in college, and your life is made.
Spend a load of money on it.
You have we have student loans. I don't.
Yeah, we do have it in the UK as well.
People rack up huge student debt and then can't get a job out of that.
You're
with AI
promised this flashy degree that millions of other kids have got as well, and you promise this great job at the end of it. With a high paying, $50,000 a year, fee or whatever.
But then blue collar jobs and things that are more like manual aren't given the dignity, the respect, or the same monetary value as those are the jobs. So you've got this real
frowned upon,
exactly.
Almost thought as stupid,
or lesser than. And so there needs to be a whole switch around. But that's also just the UK and how entrenched we are in our kind of class system.
Yeah,
and that's
been social here hierarchy.
It's still there, centuries. Even though
totally.
I mean, it's not officially there, but it is.
Oh, definitely. It's so stuck into people's brains. It's
you don't want to be a cobbler or something like that, and it's like, well, why not?
Yeah, it's art in itself.
People need shoes.
Well, totally. Exactly, yeah.
And there's such a creativity to all these things, and but it's just not given the
things
respect
like that.
or dignity that
they aren't presented as jobs that you sort of would be happy with, even though a lot of people probably would. And a lot of people are, mind you, but
like we grew up with parents who are hairdressers, and that's like,
of course you did.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
But that's especially a creative role, and it's a very sociable role. But that's not presented as a choice for. Yeah, exactly.
I love hair. I mean,
yes,
they're respect to hair. I wouldn't look like this without my hairdresser. Shout out Marissa.
Well, I think since lockdown as well, people just being, I just do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I figured out how to dye my hair during lockdown. What would you guys be doing for careers if you weren't doing music then?
I ain't got a clue. I'd make a shit footballer, that's for sure. I don't know. I mean, I liked skateboarding, but then again, I only really got into that because of music, and then like clothes was because of music as well. I didn't dress like this before. I got into playing the guitar. But I don't know. I think I'd like to be a tailor otherwise, or something like that.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But that's only a thing like now that I like clothes. So
yeah, because you're good at like fine details and patience and things
although
like
my shoes are marked actually, which you probably wouldn't see if I didn't point it out. But
sorry, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah. Cheers.
So there was no real plan. I mean, obviously you are young and you started this very young, but there was never any real plan B for what you might do with your lives other than music.
I think
our parents weren't like, right, dad's a hairdresser, you're going to be a hairdresser.
Well, there was no plan B, and like I think as soon as you have a plan B, you kind of already betting on plan A for not working. And so we never thought of this initially as we were going to do music as a career, but ended up being so consuming, and we have this like all or nothing attitude that there was no alternative. It never even crossed our minds.
Yeah, that's the thing I hated. I mean, teachers and even like friends and like pupils in school and things like that go, what do you want to do? Like careers day was fucking useless for me. They're like, what do you want to do? I was, I want to do, be in a band. And we're going, well, you should probably think about, going to university just in case. And, well, what about all these people that go into university? Do you tell them, well, maybe you should learn an instrument just in fucking case? But that's
that would
not
be
something
hilarious.
that's sold. Yeah. Why don't you join a band?
Don't be a doctor. Be a rock star.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's seen as, don't get me wrong, it's not like a easy job to be in a lot of ways. And the failure rate is through the roof. But here we are.
So that whole Sex Pistols Paul Cook thing happened, which, like I said, ended up with you. And I don't know if you met Glenn Matlock that way, if you met him through playing with Blondie, because he was playing with Blondie for a while Chris Stein was singing it out.
Yeah, we met him, first of all, supporting the Professionals, actually.
Wait, the Professionals?
Yeah.
Like, be a professional.
Yeah,
They're still around? Like, they did things?
Yeah.
They're in one of my favorite rock and roll movies ever, ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains.
All right.
Yeah,
Check it out.
In 2022 or one, I think that was, and in 23 we did the Blondie gig, and that was great. That was really good, and we saw Glenn Matlock there. But we met him backstage at 229 was a venue in London. If anyone knows it, probably not. But yeah, that was great.
When was that made? That film?
I'm gonna say 82. maybe 81, early 80s.
Yeah.
But it's about a fictional girl punk band. You should totally watch it. Yeah. But Paul Cook and Steve Jones are in it, playing the professionals. And it's about an all-girl punk band, and like Laura Dern and Diane Lane are in it, and they were teenagers. It's an amazing movie.
It's an English film.
It's not. It was an American film.
Okay.
But like the professionals are in it, kind of playing like a rival band or an older band they go on tour with or something. You would love that. I didn't know that they ever did anything. That's so cool. I learned something. I'm learning a lot. And then you ended up playing with them at Royal Albert Hall, which is people who grew up in London. I mean, it's one of the most famous hallowed venues in the world. But I mean, that must have been like an out of body. Like, what the hell is this my life experience?
It was the day before my 17th birthday.
Holy cow!
Yeah, we were on tour at the time, and the next day we did a signing in Rough Trade, which is like probably half the size of even this room.
Oh, like the one in Notting Hill, not the one in East London?
No, the one in
it's a new one in
Denmark
Soho.
Street.
Oh, there's a new one.
It's a really small one.
Okay.
So we've done a few of them, like big extremes. You play the Royal Albert Hall, and then you play like a 20 cab venue. We did that recently. I forgot what it was. But yeah, that was amazing. And for Teenage Cancer Trust, so we were glad we were there for such good cause, supporting such a great band. And Roger Daltrey wrote us a letter of thanks as well.
Wow. I know you're big Mod fans.
Yeah, it was.
So I imagine that was crazy.
And it was even more crazy when Pete Townsend gave me a guitar recently.
Oh my God!
Yeah, bought me a 12-string Rickenbacker 450. I don't know the model of it. I'm not really a guitar nerd as such, but it sounds fucking great.
That's insane. Well, I mean, obviously you get kind of compared to punk stuff. Sex Pistols get brought up a lot, but I feel like your roots maybe are a little bit more in the mod thing.
Yeah. Mine probably especially, I don't want to speak for his, but yeah, I love the old 60s and then late 70s mod sort of revival thing. I don't really want to call it revival because there's always been mods. But
have you been to Brighton? Do you have a scooter?
I don't have a scooter, no.
You didn't push a scooter off a cliff? Don't do that. Don't do that, kids.
I don't think that was in Brighton even. I don't know.
I'm making the Quadrophenia movie reference, but...
White Cliffs, wasn't it? I don't know.
But Brighton... I've been to Brighton, and that's like a mecca of that. You've played like scooter rallies and stuff, haven't you?
Yeah. Also done the Mod Weekender down there as well.
We did loads of that when we were starting. Yeah, we did Nicky Weller's Mod Weekender as well. The Woking Weekender at Woking Football Club.
When is that an annual thing? Because I want to go.
I think
Weekend is every year in Brighton. That's
there's loads. There's like something like Skegness, Morecambe, Redcar, Brighton.
Wow.
Portsmouth.
So I'm sure you've been asked some variation of this question a million times, but like, how did you get into obviously a lot of influences that are from before your time? Was it a parent, an older brother?
Yeah, his parent. Yeah, we don't have any other siblings, but we got
Don't have a Paul Gallagher.
No, we don't have a Paul. But our dad was into all that sort of thing, like Squeeze and Elvis Costello, and the Jam was his band, but the Boomtown Rats, Buzzcocks, the Undertones were massive. Stiff Little Fingers, he was a massive fan of, and then obviously the Kinks. But that's a really big band for me. I'd say my top 3 bands at the moment are probably Jam, the Kinks, and the Happy Mondays, and the Specials probably somewhere in there.
No notes.
No.
Love all those. Buzzcocks is actually one of my favorite bands of all time. Pete Shelley's actually my favorite lyricist.
Yeah, even his solo stuff's really good as well.
Yeah, actually, when he was kind of at the forefront of doing a lot of techno stuff that I don't think people maybe understood then. Who are your favorite lyricists from that era that you...
Well, Ray Davies, I think that social commentary that's really good, and he wrote almost these 3-minute movies and put into amazing music, and I think that's something that people like Paul Weller attached themselves to and took massive influence of. The same with the Small Faces, I think they're great. Steve Marriott's really good. I really like Fergal Sharkey's lyrics. I think they're quite funny a lot of the time. Things like his mum bought him a synthesizer and got the Human League into advisor. I think it's
a good line.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, like Jimmy Jimmy and Got My Number. And Teenage Kick's one of the greatest pop songs of all time.
Isn't that like John Peel's favorite song of all time?
It is,
yeah, famously. Have you met Ray Davies yet? I feel like that's got to happen.
No, I haven't. The closest I got is I saw the Cast Off Kinks on my 15th birthday.
Is that like a tribute band?
Yeah, but all the members in it, they all toured with the Kinks. Like they were all like in the touring band,
Are they literally called the Cast Off Kinks?
Yeah, the Cast Off Kinks.
With a K?
Yeah. But
K-A-S-T?
Yeah.
I was joking, but okay.
No, that's what it is, yeah. and Mick Avery, who was actually in the Kinks.
Right.
Yeah, he drums in them.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yeah, I met him and he was great. Quite funny, actually.
One thing I'm interested in is, we're talking about bands that are like quite British, and I mentioned how like the Libertines never really made it here, and it wasn't just because of Pete Doherty's like criminal record. It was because like what they did was extremely British. The accents when they sang, the slang they used. The Kinks got big here, but not that big compared to England.
Well, they were banned from America as well for ages.
Right, they were banned kind of at their prime, but they also were like a song like
Waterloo Sunset.
I was actually about to say that, or like the whole Village Green era, super British, and then
or dedicated follower of fashion when they're talking about like Regent Street and Leicester Square,
and even some later bands like Pulp never really got big in America. Blur certainly didn't get as big in America as Oasis. Only Song 2, like their sporty song, got big here.
Yeah.
Even Robbie Williams is not big here, which is a crime. And all the Darkness never got super big here. Their humor is very British. And so it's hard sometimes for British bands to break.
I thought America would dig the Darkness.
They liked one, I believe, at a thing called Love. And before the record, they're one of my favorite bands. I think the Darkness are amazing. But I don't think a lot of their humor translated. And with the, who was I just saying? With Robbie Williams, his humor didn't translate. And then there's just other bands like the Manic Street Preachers, who I adore. Oh, yeah. What they do wasn't going to. So it's hard sometimes for British bands. Oasis obviously are big here, but like huge here. But a lot of times it's hard for British bands to cross here if they're too British. Like I really like. I'm now going down this list of bands I like, but like the Streets, Mike Skinner. No one was going to understand what he was rapping.
Yeah, they
about.
were never going to be big. Jam were never big in America.
No, they really were. I mean, they were big within a certain world.
Yeah, just like
Squeeze were not that big here. Like one.
Really,
song.
I thought Squeeze did it over there.
I mean, define big, but
yeah.
I mean, they actually are playing the Hollywood Bowl like next in September, so maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah,
not.
But they're not like Springsteen.
Not
level.
that.
Nah.
It's hard unless they sort of, whether they're doing it deliberately or not, like Americanize themselves or tamp down the Britishness a bit.
I just don't really think they wore enough denim.
White denim, which is actually a very Mannix thing to do. Actually, when I see white jeans, I always think of the Manic Street Preachers. I'll think of you now. I'll think of the Molotovs.
I think of the Small Faces and Style Council.
Even better. Style Council, amazing band. But
they
I
did
guess
better in America than the Jam.
Huh?
They did better in America than the Jam probably did.
Style Council did.
Yeah, they had was it Shout to the Top?
They had like one minor hit here, which was Ever Changing Moods. That got on MTV a bit. But all of these bands were still kind of maybe considered cult bands here. And so I guess this was a super long way. I mean, I that was a question, I swear. How do you guys, I don't know if you even have your sights on breaking America, which a lot of British bands do. That is the dream. But like hitting that sweet spot between embracing your Britishness and you're singing about your culture and growing up there, but also like having a wider appeal, because so far America's like loving you guys, and you're definitely very British in the best possible Anglophilic way, but it's not in a way that like if you didn't grow up in South London you wouldn't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be maybe prepared to tour America for like 6 months in a year, which you sort of got to do because the place is so big, and to make even the smallest of an impact. I mean, that's some way that social media does help, is you can reach a lot of people just quite easy. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't mind either way, but I'm not going to change my songwriting for it. I'm not going to tailor to an American audience. I can only write about what I see and what environment. So I guess the more I travel though, and the more I tour, those horizons get broader. So I'll probably become a better writer as the more I go.
Writing a Springsteenian
anthem. I wouldn't be writing about denim.
I mean, a song about white denim. There is a band called that, actually. But what were you, Issy, about to say?
No, I mean, it would have been a fantastic opportunity had the Sex Pistols tour in America gone ahead. I mean, obviously that got cancelled last year when Steve Jones broke his wrist, and we meant to be supporting him, all them across America.
That's why I heard. Didn't hear it from me.
I mean, that tracks. I mean, let's put it out there. Okay, so I've actually been told I have to wrap up, but I have a couple more questions. So I've been mentioning the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
You know, you've toured with them. You've opened for a lot of people. You've opened for Youngblood. I believe you've opened for the Libertines and Blondie. And there's people like Green Day who've said good things about you. How does it feel? It's a two-part question. How does it feel to have this support from idols and heroes like that? But there's also a certain pressure that comes from that, because everyone's like, every few years a band comes around, people are like, rock is dead and this band's going to save it. And things have been written to that effect about you. I think Channel 4 in the UK even said like, this is that you've like
brought back gigging. Yeah, no,
brought back
Channel
gigging
4
from the dead.
Yeah, that did us loads of bad actually. Like,
really?
Well, people spun it like we said it, and people were like, who the fuck do they think they are saying they brought back gigging?
Yeah, there's always going to be a backlash. I know you've experienced maybe a bit in the UK where like the press is like 1 minute they love you and the next day they're like, no, they suck now. Like the press is very mercurial there. But like the pressure of sort of having these accolades from your heroes and then sort of being held up as someone who's going to like, that they're passing the torch to. I mean, as young people who are, even though you've been doing this for 6 years, like to a lot of people, you're a new band. That's a lot of pressure. How do you feel about all of that?
I don't really feel much sort of pressure really with it, because people are going to make what they make of it at the end of the day anyway, so I'm not really, we're just going to do what we do, and it's quite black and white really. I don't feel the weight of past heroes sort of on my shoulders.
And as long as we make something we're extremely proud of and we continue to do that, like we're working on the second album at the moment, like in the studio, and like writing Matt's perspective and then bringing it to the studio and thrashing it out. So if we can make something that we think is extremely poignant or touching on our feelings about the times that we're in now, and people relate to that and connect with it, then I think we've done our job, and it doesn't matter what then the press says about it, because we know that we've done what we're here to do.
Awesome. Any bucket list collaborations or anything you want to do? You've already met and worked with some of your heroes.
I'm a huge fan of
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah. She would maybe do that.
She's got the hair.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
That's the one you've been.
No.
Is he?
No one else.
No one else
will do.
I really like Matt Johnson from The. I think he's like one of my favourite songwriters. Like,
wow.
Of all time. And even with what he did with his music videos and the artwork, and almost as a kind of creative director of his own world, I think he'd be a very interesting person to just talk with.
Absolutely. I have actually interviewed him, and I can tell you he is a very interesting person to talk.
What era?
Like last year.
Oh, last
when
year.
He put
okay.
out he's amazing.
My God.
So Sabrina Carpenter, Matt Johnson, Ray Davies, Billy Joe Armstrong, and whoever else. If you are watching this, let's make that happen. In the meantime, I'm so happy that you guys are having the success. We are honored that you came to the store, and thank you for keeping physical media alive and hope alive. It's just awesome. And rock alive, if people want to say that too.
Yeah, I wouldn't say any of that really. But
if there's anything positive, they can say what they like.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Cheers. Thank you for your time.